but you bring them into a battle zone. Even the very conception was by beating and abuse. Women, what is actually wrong with you? That you stay in an abusive marriage. You can't leave. Okay, no problem. Then the next thing you do is to start bringing children in the abusive marriage. Then raising the children to be abusive. What? When a child is watching, do you know what happens? A lot of women, in the study conducted by the World Health Organization, that women that remain in abuse are, number one, women with low education and exposure. Number two, women that have watched their mothers being beaten and battered by a husband, intimate partner, family member, and the mother stayed. So they have come to accept that this is how it is, and they too cannot leave. So not only are you damaging your own life, you are damaging the next generation with these senseless acts of random conceptions. First of all, I want to thank everybody for your understanding last week. My mom had a partial stroke, and I don't even know what happened. She fell. She wasn't coordinated. Her right hand and her right legs, her right foot, sorry. She couldn't coordinate, and I had to shut down prematurely last week. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for your messages. It was really overwhelming. I really appreciate it. God bless you. She's much better now. In fact, she had cerebral malaria, that malaria that affects that, plus the stroke. It was a terrible. I think today was the first day I went to the office. Since then, I've been her primary caregiver, taking her to the hospital, making sure she's eating and all that. But we thank God. Today she can get up. Her hand is, she can move the hands. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. God bless. So let me go into the matter of today. Ordinarily, we have been dealing with we've been dealing with traits to avoid in marriages, in your choice, in your consideration of a spouse. But there's something I have to take a break. I really need to tell everyone this. I am getting a bit angry, irritable at a particular thing that has been happening this year. I don't understand, but I think maybe enough is enough. I will call them pregnancies, abusive pregnancies. A lot of women got pregnant, and because of the pregnancy, it seems their father kicked them out, or they thought they had no choice. They thought they had no choice because of the pregnancy than to go and attach themselves to Babatunde. Thank you. Babatunde, thank you. Oluwabs, wow, fantastic. Thank you all the way. Thank you for being there. Thank you. So let me go back into the matter. So because of the pregnancy, a lot of women have attached themselves to the men who, because of the nature of the free gift, has seen it not important to go to the family of the lady or pay a bride price, but they just continue in the state of affairs as man and wife without the family of the man even knowing what is going on. However angry I am, let me be fair. Some of the women were kind of disowned by their family when they got pregnant without being in marriage. So they were thrown out by their parents, and they had nowhere to go but than to go back to the man who really may not have wanted wanted anything. The pregnancy, as far as is concerned, could have been aborted, but they had nowhere to go. They went there, and because this is a gift they did not want, the man did not want, or some, they just continued like that. The woman started suffering abuse. First of all, I want to appeal to parents, and I want to tell women especially, and men, yes, because men are also in this category. Pregnancy is not a call for marriage. It is a call for parenting. That is, the man becomes a father and the woman becomes a mother. Pregnancy is not a call to marriage. Pregnancy does not mean marry. It means father and mother. Who is a father? The dictionary describes a father as the cause of a pregnancy. That is a man that donates the sperm. The cause of a pregnancy. Who is a woman? The woman is a person whose baby develops in the womb. There is, in the definition of a father and mother, there is no adjective linking it to husband and wife. So when people get pregnant and the next thing that comes to their mind is that they must marry, that is a fallacy. And I will tell you why. Because, let me give you an example. A lady came to me. The man forced himself on her. It had been a long distance relationship, and the gentleman came into town, and your boyfriend is in town. They go out for Friday night, and they hung out. The guy says, no, I'll book a room, we'll be there. Let's just stay out till like 2-3 a.m. Let's get to meet, let's party, let's get to know each other. And when they finished that, they got into the room. The lady was not prepared to spend the night, but because, hey, my boyfriend is in town. And that is how, when they got into the room, after a few, the guy just changed. And, the guy started forcing himself, and she was like, let's just get to know each other. And before you knew, the guy grabbed her by the throat and had his way twice. The girl sent a message to her best friend that, can you believe that he raped me in the first night? There was nothing consensual about this. The chat was there. And he just became an animal. She cried, and by 5 a.m. she got up, because it was already late. At 2-3 a.m. where could she go? 5 a.m. she got up and quickly left and went to her house. The gentleman traveled back. 2 months later, she noticed her period was not there. And she went to do a pregnancy test and found out that she was pregnant. After some time, it started showing she didn't have the liver to go and abort. And the mother, on getting to know, went ballistic. Who is the man? And eventually she mentioned, and they immediately, that since you will go and meet him, they must get married. That was how a woman was made to marry her rapist. That was how she was forced to marry her rapist. she was trying to say that, I don't feel any, as long as you are pregnant, you must marry the person that got you pregnant. If their parents don't say so, the woman will say, no, you must marry me because of pregnancy. Or a man will tell you, no, some men purposely do this to get some women pregnant so that the woman may seem to be out of options and threaten her. You must not abort my baby, I will report you to the, just so as to get a woman. The problem is that afterwards, there is something called systematic abuse. Why? Because she had no value. You picked her up, the pregnancy was a free-for-all call. There was no dowry, there was nothing paid. The family even begged you to marry her, because how can, in most cultures, you don't pay dowry, you don't pay a bride price on a pregnant woman. So they force this lady into marriage, they force you to marry because you get pregnant. And then systematic abuse comes. Because the guy never really labored for, he didn't prostrate, he didn't pay anything, got her free. And that is how women start living in abuse. But let me put that aside. What has gotten to me, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to change the topic of today is that most of these women coming to me nowadays are women who have lived in abuse for at least 15 years. The list that came to me in the past 1 month was 13 years. Beaten, battered, and I say, okay, so what kind of marriage did you contract? And they tell me, actually, they are not really, he didn't pay my bride price. I got pregnant. Now I'm beginning to wonder. There is a lady who will come to see me next week. The man says, I own, like in the radio on Saturday, some men were claiming that the moment they pay bride price, they own you. This one was saying, you got pregnant for me, I own. He slaps her to the extent that she's blind in one eye. The veins, the arteries are traumatized and blind in one eye. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to meet me, and I'm wondering, what were you staying in the marriage for when he had been? He says he doesn't beat her, that he disciplines his wife. Ladies and gentlemen, if your family even pushes you into an abusive marriage, there's an age you get to that you begin to think, you see, the reward for abuse is not pregnancy. Women who now are legally married would now be in this same abusive situation, beaten, battered, and bruised, and the reward for the abuse is to give birth to more children for the abuser. It is beginning to be absolutely ridiculous. A lady called me today and said that she had to resign her job. He said he would open somewhere for her, but she must first resign the job. She had resigned the job 12 years now. He did not open, that wherever she gets anything, and he has the money, but he would tell the agent and that not now. And that has been how she has been jobless for about 11, 12 years. Ladies and gentlemen, she said they will give herself and 4 children 1,500 to eat per day. That is her and 4 children. And when he comes back, he expects to meet some food that he himself would eat. The issue is that he has money. But the problem is that she remained there. In fact, she has a 2-year-old again. After how many years? Over a decade. Hey, after a decade, the next thing is what? Continue giving birth. Continue giving birth. Beating. So pregnancies have become a tool of oppression and has become the advantage, the profit, the proceeds of abuse. You are in an abusive marriage and you keep giving birth in abuse. I call them abusive children. Why? Because you know that statistics, studies, even by the World Health Organization, has conclusively proven that abusive men, mostly 98% of the time, 98.7 something, are men that have witnessed their mothers being beaten by their fathers, an intimate partner, or a family member. Or men that have watched the systemic abuse of their mothers. They grow up to become abusive. Why? They are a product of their environment. Abusers are not born, they are raised. You train and you raise them in a home that is abusive, and you expect them to blossom as flowers or as thorns. There's a Yoruba proverb that says, that is, a leaf that sticks to soap, a bar of soap, for too long will become soap. When you rub the leaf, you start seeing that it will start lathering. How can you be beaten, battered, and bruised, and the next thing is another pregnancy? Beaten, battered, and bruised. The man is not even taking care of the previous children, but you are yet giving birth to more children. What is this madness of people now using children as an anchor for marriage? That because you have children, therefore remain in the abuse, and the idiots that will keep giving them that advice are living in their own homes, not being beaten the way you are being beaten. You are being given 1,500 naira for 4 children. They are eating and drinking in their homes, but supervising your own affliction, that you know what, just stay there because of the kids. People that are not going through what you are going through, but yet are the ones telling you what to do in your own abuse. At least when you want to go to war, you get a soldier that has been to war to train you. But now you get a soldier that has not seen war, but telling you how to fight. Isn't that a recipe for defeat? I don't even understand what, if it is religion, if it is culture, if it is stupidity, if it is ignorance, I don't even understand. You cannot believe the number of, let me tell you something. Pregnancy has been an institution of oppression from ages past. You see a man beat a woman, the next thing, keep beating, the next thing she's pregnant. Pregnancy, a lot of times, is used to hold you in the marriage, because they know that the moment you get pregnant again, you will not be able to leave, because you have to. But why is it that women get pregnant again in abuse? A lady called me from Langasa, that side, after Aja, telling me the gentleman resigned from work because he met somebody, an ex, and they planned to travel out together, and it did not work. So he came back, and because he had no job, she was now feeding him, paying the rent, sending his children to school, and he would be beaten out. Then he went back to the office that he resigned, saying that, well, they have to employ him back. That was even the joke. Of course, he left with an insult, telling them to pay him off, his gratuity or severance, and he paid him money, and he went to invest because he wanted to travel out with a lady that he had known before. They met, an ex who is now a travel agent, and they planned that, okay, they would travel out together or something, but that did not work. He came back. She got to know. You know how she got to know about this? The man's sister called her very angrily to tell her, do you know what your husband went to do in Abuja? That he was to leave you with another woman. She asked him, and he did not even deny or something. But she kept paying the rent. She kept feeding this man who now had no job. The man would now go to be, he had given her some money to start the shop before. So it is from that shop that he'll be feeding and everything. And suddenly the man went to the police station and brought policemen that he is the owner of the shop, that they should arrest this woman and take her away because he wants to take over the shop that has been feeding his brokers, because the one that he wanted to abscond, that one was not enough for her. The beatings, that one was not enough for her. The public disgrace and embarrassment he gives her was not enough for her. Now he came to take away the shop. It was when they now got to the police station and this woman now started talking. Now she couldn't talk well because the guy had just beaten her. You understand? So when they saw the bruises and they were like, what's going on? And she said it was him and all that. So the case just turned. The man is still living in the same house, and she's now that she's tired, that she's the one paying the rent. How can and I said, what? You have been paying the rent for over 5, and the man keeps beating you in the rent. And then how many children do you have? It's like 4 or 5. What do you mean it's like 4 or 5? In the same abuse, in the same beating, 4 or 5. Now please, she wants me to help get him out of the house when she cannot even get him out of her shop. I am even done, ladies and gentlemen, with helping women recover children. Now what happens is that when the man sees that maybe the woman you just sleep, wake up, the man has packed the children and has disappeared. One said, it's like this marriage is tiring. The man said she can go, but he will not take the children. And while she was there, they were still, one day he said they were going to church, packed the children. He came back without the children and said she can now leave. And he said, where are my kids? He said that they are with his family. Shouldn't worry, she cannot, maybe she wants to go. Children are being brought into a battle zone